What's the difference between a rebel and a rebel without a cause? And should non-conformity be encouraged or suppressed in society? This is the life lesson we'll learn from the 13th star of Vedic Astrology, Svāti, the Individuater. In this series, Life Lessons of the Vedic Nakshatra, we'll discover how life really works by exploring the 27 constellations through the mystical Sanskrit words of the Vedic Nakshatra Sutra. Welcome back to the video series where we're taking life lessons from the wisdom of the Vedas. It comes to us through the Taittiriya Brahmana, which has a section in it called Nakshatra Sutra, 27 lines describing the function and malfunction of each of the Vedic nakshatras, which I'm translating and explaining, and I'll be publishing soon. So as we always do, we'll start our exploration of the sutra by listening to the original Sanskrit. Now, this is a recording that I did with the students from the first online Nakshatra Sutra course that I held, so please enjoy it. Here it is. So the sutra reads, Vayor nishtya pratati prastat asiddhiravastat. And to put that in English, it sounds something like this. The far-blowing wind needs to drift for imperfection. So let's take a look at each of the words in this sutra real briefly so that we get our head straight on what the words mean. Vayu is the first word. Vayu is commonly thought of as the wind god, but really Vayu is the god of the air, which means he's the god of breath, which means he's the god of prana or oxygen. So this makes him a very important god, and it also makes him the god of the element which causes individuality. Okay, prana is a type of modern equivalent concept of prana is oxygen. And you know how sensitive the brain is to oxygen. And the Vedic concept, prana is what allows the non-physical mind to interface with the physical brain and nervous system. So it's a kind of oxygen that allows the electric, just like oxygen, regular oxygen lets fire burn, this type of prana oxygen lets the electrochemical impulses combust. And that's the conduit between the non-physical mind and the physical mind. So what happens is the non-physical mind can individuate itself into a physical defined body through this prana. So prana is the force through which life individuates itself with a great specificity. You know, I become me, this me, you become you, that you. And we're different. Because of the prana connecting us to different nervous systems which are connected to different bodies, we get the sense that this nakshatra has a lot to do with individuality. And that's the whole life lesson, right? What about individuality? Is it worth something or is it just a bother? So that's the first word, vayu. The second word is nishtya. This is an older name for Svāti. These days we call the nakshatra Svāti, which means having a lot, or ati, of swa, self, a lot of individuality. The sutra is using the name nishtya, which means something that's very far away, far off. So the idea is the far-blowing wind, the wind that blows things far away. Svāti nakshatra itself, the anchoring stars of Svāti nakshatra are very, very far away from the ecliptic, very far north of the ecliptic. So literally, it's named Nishtya because the stars are far off from the plane at which the planets travel. And that's a very important part of the nature of this nakshatra. It's going to put something very far away, take it away from the pack, make it individualized. That's why I'm calling it the Individuater. So those are our first two words, Vayu, the god of wind, and prana that individuates things. Nishtya, the thing which has been blown far away, which has become different from the pack. And the third important word is vratati. Vratati is that actual process of blowing, right? Vratati means to expand and grow. And it's often used to refer to plants that are like vines, creepers, and they grow in a certain way. They don't just grow it like from the center outward, but they grow in a single direction. So that's what vratati means. It's like a ray. A movement is like a ray, like starting at a point and then moving continually. So that's what vratati means. Vratati is the prastat. It's the thing that this nakshatra needs. It needs the freedom to be itself. It needs the freedom to be different. It needs the freedom to go somewhere else and do something else than what everybody else is doing. And the fourth word in the sutra, the fourth unique word in the sutra is asiddhir. So usually you'll hear the word siddhi, and then you negate it with the prefix a. So siddhi usually means perfect, perfection. So asiddhi means imperfection. Siddhi means an accomplishment. So asiddhi means a failure. Or siddhi means the completion or the completeness. So asiddhi means an incompleteness, a non-completion. And also siddhi means the sum, the total, like 2 + 2 = 4. The siddhi is the 4. It's the sum total. It's the tally. So asiddhi means not tallying, not adding up. So it means non-compliance. So asiddhi means non-compliance, non-completeness, failure, imperfection. So to sum it all up, Svāti is all about individuation, individualization. So it's all about setting yourself apart from the group in which you started. That individuation from the group requires that you have freedom. So you'll need vratati. You'll need freedom to be able to go in your own direction. Now let me just give you a quick bit about how Svāti malfunctions or functions in the chart. If Svāti functions well, it signifies expansion into new, exciting, far-off things, right? It signifies getting free from the imperfections that were initially imposed on us. Svāti allows us to fix things, to purify things. It allows us to remove the flaws from the things that we're dealing with. This is one reason why Saturn is very good in this nakshatra, because Saturn is very good at finding flaws, and Saturn is also quite steady and patient. So it's got the ray-like movement where it keeps moving in the same direction. Also, it goes well with Svāti. Okay, so Svāti functioning well means improving things, fixing things, going in a new direction that makes things get better. But Svāti malfunctioning means too much need for change, but not really a clear goal. So that means drifting off course, which is another implication of the word vratati, drifting. Drifting off course from the original plan so that you don't complete the goal, which is another meaning of the word asiddhi, not getting to the completion. So when Svāti malfunctions, you're going to give up on plans too easily, move away from things, have an excessive need to find flaw in things, move away from them, give up on them before you've completed them. And now to wrap it up, let's talk about the life lesson that we get from Svāti. So at the beginning of the video, I asked, what's the difference between a rebel and a rebel without a cause? And should non-conformity be encouraged or suppressed in a society? This is a huge question. Should a society suppress non-conformity or encourage it? And I'll read you from the commentary that I've written on this Nakshatra Sutra. A rebel is a person who sees the flaws and mistakes in the circumstances that fate initially drops them into and makes every effort to distance themselves from those shortcomings. Right? So you're born in a certain culture, a certain family, and there's things about that culture, that family that you just don't like, that you feel are wrong. And you have the gusto to change and be different from that. That's what a rebel is. A rebel is a person who sees things that they don't like and is able to change. This kind of nonconformity is very healthy for the individual and for the society. It's very healthy for the individual to get distance from imperfections. And it's very good for the social unit because it allows the social units to evolve and improve themselves. So that kind of nonconformity should be encouraged by society. But then there's the rebel without a cause. And the rebel without a cause is a person who doesn't want to conform with social norms, just like a rebel, but doesn't have a clear reason why, isn't really sure why, what is it that they hate about their family or their social values. They're not really sure about that. And because they're not really sure about what they don't like, they're not really sure about what their destination is, what their alternative is. So rebel without a cause knows they want to be different, but doesn't know what they want to be. Knows that things suck, but doesn't know how to make things better. So these kind of rebels are like wind that has no destination. How does that work? Otherwise, you just don't really go anywhere. That kind of energy creates an anger and a dissatisfaction and a malaise inside of the person. Because they know that they want some change. They know that they want to be different, but they don't know what they want to be. So they have no focus on where to go. That kind of nonconformity is actually detrimental to the individual because all it does is create anxiety in them. And it's detrimental to the society because all it does is create enmity and anger. Right? So the key then to the whole thing is what we want is we want good rebelliousness, intelligent rebelliousness, and intelligent nonconformity. So the key then is for society and families to promote wisdom, to promote intellectual thinking, to promote logical, critical evaluations of things. And the rebels will be clear about what they want to revolutionize, and society will benefit from it. But if you can't encourage and promote clear criticism, then you're just going to get people are going to know that things suck, but they're not going to know how to fix it. That is the life lesson of Svāti Nakshatra. Don't miss the life lessons from the other 26 star clusters of Vedic astrology. Subscribe to my channel now. And keep your ears up for announcements about the release of this book and the next online classes about it. Thanks.